Well, hello everyone, and here we are for another Monday. Uh, Beautiful day here. Mid 50s. Had a cool front move through, but it's March 13th, 2023, and this is episode 6 of the Bob Randall and Company Live Preview Show. And let's say hello to my partner over here, Mr. Randall Santa Checker Lee.
Hey everybody, happy Monday everyone. TGIM, like I try to say. Thank God it's Monday. Hope everybody's having had a great weekend. It's good.
Yes. Well, as you know,
Looking
most
forward
of
to
you
it.
know, I had a busy weekend. We pulled off the 10th annual Sat Bob's class. We'll talk more about that later on in the show. How's your weather up there this weekend and today?
Oh man, it's Michigan. We had a couple inches of snow yesterday. About an inch and a half. Today was flurries all day and was didn't get up low 30s. But in a couple days it's going to be in the 50s. So I don't know. It's March. It's trying to do that. It's getting a little like
It,
teens of warmth, and then you hit with a little bit of snow. I think it's we didn't have much shoveling snow, thank goodness. But
yeah, that's good for you. I know winters get long up there, especially when you've had a lot of snowfall for the year. Now for us, it was. Gosh, you're going to kill me, Randy, but it's been mid-ish 80s for 3 or 4 days. Sunshine, a little bit of wind. Today we've got partly cloudy skies, sun shining bright right this moment. But we're like you. We're in that transitional period. We're just a few weeks ahead of you, so we're already in the mid 50s. Not too bad. It's a little chilly after being in the 80s, but hey, it's that time of year.
oh, it's the old my mom used to say, I feel for you, but I just can't reach you right now on that one. I just can't.
I understand. I really, really do. All right, man. Hey, let's move on along to that big old burger. Man, I've been looking forward to that all weekend. We had burgers at Whataburger Saturday and Sunday. It's the closest location to the Holiday Inn Express where our school is, and but they just can't match that something burger. All right. Well, before we go on to that, let's say hello to some folks. We've got quite a few joining us at this point. Rex Ray, brother, I hope you got more energy than I got today because I know you're driving home. You're down on I-10. It looks like somewhere between here and the Panhandle of Florida. Ben Bellhorn's with us. Who else we got, Randy?
We got Kimmy Claus, good old Kimmy Rayburn down there in Columbus also. Rex, how you doing? AJ, good to see you, AJ. My goodness, thank you guys for joining us today.
Santa Tom from Vancouver, Washington, always on the show
Hey,
watching. And of course, our favorite, Santa Scott Parker. He's always right there. As soon as that clock strikes down to zero, he's on with us. So thank you guys for joining us.
that's cool.
Okay, Randy, you want to go ahead and let's start with the something burger. This is our hot topic segment. We always try to give you two topics and this is the audience participation point of the show. Like to get you guys input. This helps the new and young guys. I had a first year Santa in my class this weekend, and he said, "Oh my gosh, you guys on Monday and Tuesday have helped me tremendously so far." And he was so looking forward to the class. You may have seen his post over on the Tuesday Night Live show, Santa Roger. He's here from the Metroplex, and I asked him yesterday as we started to leave if he learned anything. He said, "My head is swimming," and so I told him go home and decipher what he had. 6 months from now, something will pop in his head that he learned and be able to use it in his performance. Erica Moesha was with us this weekend. Oh gosh, they have so many good things to say about everything. And again, we'll talk more about that towards the end of the show. For now, though, let's get started on this something burger hot topic. Randy, you go ahead and take the floor.
all right. The first one is actually, again, like I try to do two questions kind of in one. They're the same question, but kind of the yin and the yang of them. First question is, how do you answer or how do you limit a child when they have 2, 3, 4, 5 pages worth of things they want for Christmas? What do you say to them? How do you limit them? Like, if they have two, three, they come up with their, folder and everything else, and they do you limit them or not? How do you limit them? And how do you answer a young child that says, I don't want anything? What do you say to a child that I don't want anything? I don't want anything, Santa. I don't, even if it's a little child, maybe a teenager will say I don't want anything. But sometimes a young child says, I don't want anything. I don't want anything. What do you say to a child that doesn't want anything? Or how do you limit? How do you limit a child that has two, three, four, five, six, 7, 10 pages, $2,000, $3,000 worth of toys that they want? How do you guys limit that? I would
So
really
true.
appreciate the input because that's it happens all the time when you're in that line.
It does, and especially at the mall or Cabela's or any of the other stores, big box stores. Uh, let's take the latter of the two for me. You mentioned teenagers. Most teenagers will say, "I don't know. I've got everything pretty much I want. I don't want anything." And I always tell them, don't stop dreaming. There's always things in life that you want, and they are achievable. You just got to set your mind to it and go after those things. You can get anything you want if you work hard enough. And I said, for me, my point of view for you is to dream big. And if you're going to ask for, money, ask for a bucket full of money. And they always laugh, and it kind of sets them up on the right tone. And as far as the children go, you've got those children that bring the ad out of the newspaper that, like you said, it's got 10 pages and got, 15, 20 items on each page, and they got them circled. And if I've got time, I'll spend as much time as I can with a child because there's slow periods that we all run through
Right.
one of those lulls where have no one standing in line or just one other person. And so, I try to give them that time, that attention. Oh, I carry on with them about how cool that is and how much fun they're going to have with it. And, but if I'm in a hurry, I have to limit them. And so I bring it down to, I'm sure as you do, Randy, tell me the top three things you
Three.
cannot do without this year. You have to have your favorite toys you want.
and
And,
and I say with the top three that I always have to add. I always add in that now you got to make sure that I can't always guarantee it, and you have to do your
right.
part too in being good. So there's always that because just in case some channels say well the top three you'll get or whatever, and you can't. Of course we can't promise. So, but yeah, and like teenagers for me, I was when they say they don't want anything, I always would go to ask, well, what do you like to do? Do you like sports? Do you like music? Do you like to read? I like give them like a hint, and they usually, unless they really don't want to talk to you, they'll come up with something. Yeah, I like to read, or I just want some clothes. Okay, cool. You like casual? You like dressy? Then you spark the conversation a little bit with older ones, but with little ones, I always have a hard time. Be honest with you, even now when they're a little one, I mean, we're talking of 3, 4, 5 years old that
Mhm.
don't know what they want. Or don't say I don't want anything. I mean, they don't know what they want. Sometimes it's because they're nervous. But when they say they don't want anything, I still have a hard time what to say back to a young child when I don't want anything. I don't want anything. I
Well,
need
my final question to them is, do you like surprises? And of course, everyone loves surprises.
prizes.
Yeah, and then I'll say, well, you know what? You have been very, very good this year. I have got nothing but good reports on you from the very beginning from everyone. And I'm very proud of you. So I'm going to bring you something special. It will be a surprise, but you will know it's from me because I'll leave my name on the tag. And they usually go away with a smile.
So that's good. That covers
Okay.
the year. Got some. I know we got some answers in there, especially.
Yeah, I was just going to go ahead and grab them real quick and
Go
we can
ahead.
carry
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
before we start losing them at the top of the page.
Yeah.
Hey, Diane, it's good to see you on with us today. I'm so glad you figured out how to get in and joining us. He says, ask them to give you their top three gifts. That's the way I handle it too. Very good answer. And Randy, you want to pick up the next one?
It's I gotta scroll so I can see it. Where's my thing here? Sorry about that. It's actually from Tom, right? Instead of asking
No,
what,
it's
whoops, right? Hopefully that's one. Uh,
it's from Ernie, I believe, is the one I was thinking
yeah.
about.
Okay. Something special. Boy, I'm having a hard time reading this on my computer for some reason. Something
Yeah, my too.
special, or how about a surprise? Actually, the same thing as you said, Bob. Something your tell the top two gifts you like, and then if I can give you a surprise. That's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Yeah, I think a
Angie
surprise
says she's
really.
gonna put them up on the screen for us, make it easier
There
for
we
us to
go.
read them.
I don't know
I
why
have
I
to look
can't.
over my other computer over here to see because that's where I got Facebook pulled up.
Okay,
But
Sam says
this
instead
helps.
of asking what you want, what do you need?
Good answer, Tom. Great answer.
Some children think they need it all. But
Yeah,
yeah,
they
but
do.
that's but that will sometimes will definitely limit to I agree to a couple of things. I need this. I really need. Oh, I need that badly. Yeah, that's what they want.
Tom says if they don't know what they want, I'll say I don't know either, but that will make it a surprise for both of us. That's a good way to handle that also. Scott Parker says my set is 10 foot in the air, just a boot to the face. They go right down the slide. Probably no. Uh,
Okay.
Scott Parker. Oh, how nice. That's Jose. Hello, Jose. Good to see you, Bubba. Hey, man, I'm glad you went with us this weekend. And I was just telling your future mother-in-law over here that hopefully you are reaching out and grasping the Santa community even more after this weekend.
That's great. Hey, Bart.
That's
Welcome,
my
welcome, Bart. See, Bart's from Wisconsin, I think, is on.
very good. Very good. Yep. Fantastic. Okay, so any other answers for Randy's two questions that he posed? Any other situations you've run into that you'd like to talk about? Throw them up there for us. We're clicking right along here
Yeah,
today.
that's good. That's good. Yeah, just some the old food for thought.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. All right, well, if you do, go ahead and put them in. If not, let's move along and I'll throw. Parker says he's just kidding. He has a trap door. There's always there's always a way to handle any situation, right, Scott? Okay, so let's move along to my question that I'm going to pose, and this kind of comes from a segment that was at the school this weekend, and I just thought that when we were doing this segment that this was a great question to ask because I don't think that we've covered it before on either one of the shows. But when doing a home visit or any visit for that matter, where you use props to fill your scheduled time, be it 15 minute, 30 minute, 1 hour, depending on how long you've been contracted to be there. What kind of props or stories do you use? And do you plan on adding anything new for the next season? Props or stories could be storybooks, could be poems, any type of magical item that you use. I know Randy talks about not doing magic as Santa, although and I got to tell you, Randy, while we're waiting here for a moment, Moesha said yesterday her comment the other night was that she was blown away by that candy cane that just kept coming
Mhm.
out of that bag. It kept coming out of that bag.
Well,
She really
Scott
loved.
Parker
She
sent
really
me a
loved
thing
that
saying
effect.
he got Scott got his red and green tape in. He got the plastic in. He got it all delivered already. So he's ready
Mhm.
to make one. So that's great.
So
But
Randy touched on this last week, and then again, Santa Doug Wright and his wife Diane do a hour and a half presentation at our school in Dallas, and this is something that he feels his whole schedule. It's all he does is visits, home visits, corporate visits, and he uses, like I told you, he has between 20 and 25 different items that he uses, and their program is phenomenal. If you ever get a chance, they put the cat out of the bag, but we're trying to get them on the show. They agreed to come on the Tuesday night show and present their presentation. I just don't have them penciled in for a date yet, so we can't announce that part of it. All right, Randy, what else we got here?
great. Says Ben says I tell a story about Mrs. Claus, Mrs. Claus's naughty list for misunderstanding about exactly what one cookie is, and that's great, Ben. I agree. I tell a great story about that Santa got put on the naughty list by Mrs. Claus for knocking over a lamp. So it's a fun story. So that same thing, props. Of course, I agree. I always have at least two books with me, sometimes three. Always some magic, coins to give away, and something musical. I usually bring a because you don't always have somebody that's musically inclined when I do a home visit. So I bring along a little Bluetooth speaker. They got them little, they're about the size of a 3x5 card. They're really small, and I have music on my phone. You play music at your home visit, so it's like a prop too. You're just bringing along music so they can sing the Jingle Bells or Rudolph or whatever, and you have background music. Because somebody, we're not all great singers, so but to have props, I think it's great that he has got a complete a show on props because we are entertainers. Um, my cell phone is usually enough. Does that mean it's loud enough or it's
Yeah, I think that's what
okay?
Ernie meant there,
Okay,
or Bart meant there.
yeah, it's
Ernie,
nice that
Magic Bag, Story Time, Story about Magic Keys.
he's
Those are all great points and points that many of us use.
right.
Uh, Again, as was mentioned up here, this question is meant for shorter home visits question. Not necessarily. Doug and Diane, who did the presentation for us at the class this weekend, he says very seldom does he do a 15-minute home visit. And he won't go out on the 24th or the 25th. He just flat refuses. Santa's supposed to be making the, travels around the world. He doesn't want to confuse anyone. But he has a full schedule every year. They do. I mean, but most of their visits are 30 minutes to an hour and more towards the hour range. He said he didn't intend to start off that way, but as he added props and the families keep inviting him back year after year, he says every visit he has before he walks out the door, they're already wanting him back for the next year. So that's a great problem to have.
Yeah, it is. It's nice. You know you did your job if you get rebooked again next year. I mean
Yes, and
that is
especially on the 22nd, 23rd when you
right.
walk out the door. That's a great feeling for
Yeah.
sure.
I got
Okay,
the
put Scott Parker's back up for me, Angela.
This one?
Uh-huh. I used my new toy box Saturday at my photo shoot. The autistic child loved it. He sat there looking at the lights. We then took awesome pictures. For those who don't know and haven't been over on the page, Scott done a photo shoot this weekend, already working for 2023. He's out there doing it, isn't he? And he put together a little magic box. It's one of those kind of like a fairy dust box with the globe in it, and changes colors and things. And yes, sort of like that right there, Randy.
You're kind of like
And he
your
used it
it
this weekend. Yes,
has a globe in
absolutely.
it, and
And
it's kind of they do a little they change a little colors, as they flash,
yes,
and yeah. So
that's that's exactly what we're talking about. And it was a big hit for the fantastic, Scott. It was worth your time then to put the energy and time into to developing that. And I'm glad it worked out for you. And that's something you can use forever. I mean,
oh,
that's an item that will never go out of style.
you can use that for
Uh,
yeah.
let's see, who is this?
Yeah, we got some other
This
ones.
was for the first part of the question. It got in there late. How do you deal with a Jewish child?
Randy, you got a question, an
Oh,
answer for that?
how do I do with the Jew? Well, I said, you kind of wonder sometimes. I think I probably in my head goes, well, why are you seeing Santa if you are, so you must like Santa if you're come here to see me. You must celebrate a little bit of Christmas if you want to come to talk to me. So and you have your holiday too. What do you want for Hanukkah? I mean, what did you
Yeah.
what did you would you like to get for Hanukkah? You have 7 nights, I believe it's 7 nights of the menorah. So yeah,
Well, I tell you what, at the end of the show, we're going to have a gentleman come in and join Randy and I. We said and company, so we're going to have and company in for the last segment today, and we'll pose that question to him and let him answer it because he deals with this kind of thing. He is a Jewish Santa, uh, was raised Jewish, so let's see here. And again, going back up, my scroll's run away from me. One thing, Scott Sheridan says, I sing, but am asked to leave soon after I begin the song. Scott, we mentioned this weekend. We all sing. Some of us shouldn't. But, if a child wants to sing Jingle Bells or,
and a
Here
lot of
Comes
times
Santa
you can
Claus,
do the old lilt. You don't really have to sing. You can just sing song
start,
your words. You know,
get it started and then let them carry on.
yeah, yeah, and
And
let them. And then if you have enough people in the room, they will. That's why I always take my Bluetooth speaker because it overpowers my voice when
they'll
I'm
carry,
singing. So
they'll
I know
carry it.
Beth got a big
Exactly.
one. I had a child. There we go. I had a child this past season at the event. I wished him a Merry Christmas, and he looked at his mom and said, "It's okay. Can I tell him?" He told me he was Jewish, and I wished him a Happy Hanukkah. And that's fine. Yeah, and like I think somebody else
Totally.
said earlier, or Bart said earlier, don't. Somebody said earlier, don't treat them any different because they are just a child anyway. It's
That's
okay.
right.
Why treat them? You're still Santa. You're still being polite. You're still smiling and everything else. So your demeanor shouldn't change. So I agree with
And
what was
Christ,
said earlier. Treat them. Don't treat them any different. Yeah.
Christ is still a part of the
Yep.
equation, and Christmas is all about baby Jesus and Christ. Fantastic. Had a nice conversation. Ben says, I guess he's referring to that comment you just put up there.
Right.
Uh, Again, I'm going to have to go over here and pick this next one up because I don't have any name on it. Oh, it's Scott Sheraton. He says, this is always a blessing. Okay, gosh, man, that was a great segment there. Turned out
Wonderful.
to get some really great answers. You got
Yeah.
anything? Well, Gary says treat them no different. That's very true, Gary. Hello, Gary Linder. You got anything else there,
Just,
Randy?
just saying hi to Santa Kevin and Moesha and them. They said they run a little late, but good to see them on. Great to see them on. Yeah, but um, it's some great
Well, that's
answers.
like
Thank you guys.
that's,
That's
that's
see,
like
that's what makes the show better is you guys get given the answers and what you guys do.
that's why we
Bingo
love
goes
this.
off. Yeah.
That's why we love that segment, Something
Oh
Burger
yeah.
Hot Topics, because it gets everybody involved. Now, Scott Seriton lives in Oklahoma City. Erica Moesha lives about 2.5, 3 hours south of the DFW Metroplex. Those folks have a reason to be late. They drove home last night. All I had to do was go about 7 exits down the highway, and I was home. So makes a difference for sure. Let's see. Did we miss any up through there, Angela?
Mm,
Bart says no. I mean, as a prop in general, I use it. To show them photos and guide stories and field questions. He's talking about his phone,
Oh,
Randy.
okay. Okay.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And then who was the Facebook user that said eight?
That looks like.
Scott. Okay, 8 nights. Okay, Scott Sheraton says 8 nights.
8 9s. I'm sorry, Scott.
So,
Apologize.
again, we'll have him on towards the end of the show, and he can help us
You
kind of.
can really
We'll
answer.
come back and rehash this at that point. Ray Bradshaw says my phone is short on power. Plug that dude in. Give him some power. Pull a Tim Taylor on him.
Yeah, they got
Send the
those
tool
portable batteries you can get.
man. Yeah. Hi from Ohio. That is who's
James, Papa.
oh, it's Papa Wilson. Hello, Papa. How are you, brother? Good to see you on with us today.
Yeah, great
Bart
to
says
see.
I have lots of photos and live reindeers that buys a whole lot of street credit. That's good. That's fantastic. Love that answer too. And Bart, it's good to have you on with us again today. You know, sorry that again, we've been doing these shows now for 3 years and have been on in these two time slots, and it's just our home. It's where we're at. It's what we do. But thank you for joining us, sir. Okay, let's move along. You ready, Randy? Let's see
Yes,
what we got
sir.
next. All right. Looks like we've got hey,
Trivia.
SantaClausnet.org. Let's go to that.
Perfect.
Hey everyone, Elf Angela Mack here for Bob, Randyl, and Company Live. The show about nothing. Bob, Randyl, and Company Live is brought to you by Santa's Closet. Santa's Closet has been delivering unique, value-packed Santa and Mrs. Claus accessories since 2004. Santa's Closet's main goal is to provide both a superior customer experience with tremendous value for their customers. Santa's Closet brings more than 400 separate products to the Claus community at a reasonable price. Santa's Closet is under new ownership. Let's welcome Santa Wade and Scarlett Kaufman of Tennessee, whom will continue the tradition of bringing you products of unparalleled quality and design. Don't forget to visit their sites at santascloset.org and support their efforts of bringing quality products to the community. This is Angela Mack reminding you to catch our show every Monday at 3 p.m. Central. Thanks for watching. Now let's get back to Bob, Randyl, and Company Live and today's Monday Santa's Closet Trivia.
Randy, before we move along to this, there was a long comment came in while the promo was running. Let's go ahead and address these real quick
Yep.
before we get away from that, because once we ask the trivia
Yeah.
question, we're going to have other answers coming in. Everything's going to scroll away from us. So this is from Ernie. He says, I don't know if this has happened to anyone else. And I can tell you right now, Ernie, it's happened to many of us, probably most of us. And it's the same couple of children that are doing it. And we'll get into that here. Let's finish reading your comment here. I've had an autistic child get a hold of my number somehow and continue to call over and over, wanting to come to the North Pole and visit and see the elves. What do you do in this situation, and how should you handle it? For me, real quick, for about a week and a half, 2 weeks, all day long, I tried to converse with this child. I tried to find out who he was. Uh, and it may not be the same one, but he was using his father's avatar on Facebook. And I was able to finally dig that information out of him in a roundabout backdoor way without encroaching too deep into anything personal with him. And I just asked him if I could talk to his dad for a minute. And he said, well, he's in the other room. And at that point, I knew he was probably doing this without dad's okay. And so I did exactly what Bart did. I blocked the young man, and I hated to do it. I mean, he could have been legit, but autism is, if you got an autistic child in front of you, you can deal with that. But you have someone who becomes a nuisance because of their actions. Sometimes you just have to do what you have to do. What do you think on that, Randy?
Yeah, it breaks your heart when you have to do that. Um, I had a young man, same thing, that called and texted, and I did a couple Zoom things with, and just could not understand again what I was going through last year. Um, so I need time. I need time. And 2 days later, is that enough time? No, I want to know. So it just he. So you feel bad because their whole process does come from the heart and love and all that kind of stuff. Especially a lot of them, they of course Santa is Santa. That is they believe totally in Santa and everything else, and that's which is wonderful. So it definitely is heartbreaking. But like you said, we can't constantly do that. We have another life and we have everything else. It becomes, and the word is nuisance. Exactly what you said, Bob.
Yeah.
And it broke my heart. But I just I even had a friend that was a couple friends that were over. My daughter was at, oh, I'm the nurse, and you've got to spend some time and let him heal. And no, it just can't process those things. So, and I don't know if it's the same gentleman. I know he searches this one with me. He searched a lot of Santas out. Um, so and so, and the only thing to do is to, you hate to ignore, you hate to block, but I
Yeah, but again, there's, I mean, like I say, I hate to block them, but I mean, it come to that point where I just
yeah,
couldn't keep playing that game over and over and over constantly. And on my business, and it was on my business page, which is a page, not a group or not a
right, right.
private like your normal private page would be.
Mhm.
And so every time that notification came up, because it is a business page, and I want to know when someone is trying to contact me, of course I would get a ding, and I would go over and look, and it would be him. And then if I ever let him know that I was there, it was just like bombarding me and just kept on and kept on. And I would tell him, well, Santa's very busy. I'm at the North Pole. I've got a nail polish that's got a problem out in the workshop. I mean, I tried everything and
Yeah,
nothing worked. He was just constant. He was resilient.
yeah,
And so again, I did what I had to do because I, like you say, you got other things you have to tend with, and hopefully his father finds out and helps, in my case, and helps maybe straighten the young man out on his way of thinking. But real
yeah.
quick, want to say hello to Neil Nichols. Good to have you from Tennessee with us, Neil. Looks like we got Ken with us from Holland, Ohio today. Boy, snowy Holland, Ohio. Yes, sir. Snow in the middle, Midwest, coming down here for the last couple 3 weeks. Randy's been bombarded with it.
Not as much as that 86 inches that one year though.
Yes. So AJ says, as me as an autistic child, this never happened to me before. Real quick, you said you don't know how you got your number. If your number or contact sheet is on your website, they can search you out that way. If you happen to give a business card away to an adult and it ends up in a child's hands, they can get it that way. For me, I'm a member of the Lone Star Santa's organization, and we have a Find Santa page. We're listed on there with all of our information. So there's multiple ways that they can find you. Okay, so you ready to go on to the trivia question that we got
Yes.
away from?
Yep, no problem. Get ready for the
All right,
trivia
Randy.
question. Here we go. What year did the first department store Santa appear? What year did the first department store Santa first appear? Now, what was his name? Not Santa Claus, his real name. And the city uh, did it happen in?
This
So
historical moment happened in
yeah.
exactly.
Let
And
us
if
know.
you've been to the Sat Bob School or many of the other schools, this is discussed because it is part of the history timeline of Santa in America. And so
It's
many of you may know this off the top of your head. You may not even have to hit the keyboards.
just look. It's in one of those 4 books.
Yeah, and Tim discusses this too in his school, and I'm sure
Yeah.
that everyone else
Yeah,
does too.
it's most Santas throughout the year, like knowing when Santa, Saint Nicholas started and everything else. We pretty much know this one, but yeah, what was the first department store that Santa first appeared in? What is his name? And what city was
Yes,
this fantastic historical moment happen? So,
and this is worth one of Santa's
boom.
magical keys. Turn the back around, let you look at that. Fantastic little key. Looks really nice. Speaking of props, it's a great prop to have. This comes from Santa Wade and Scarlett at santascloset.org, and we're happy to have them along as a sponsor for the show this year.
Yes, so many
All right.
children ask about why is that key? What does that key mean hanging from your belt? I mean, you've got a long story right there.
Mhm.
I mean,
Absolutely.
you've got a story right there. So, boom, and it's pretty. It's got a great.
Something we talked about this weekend. I hate to keep going back to this weekend, but it's
Yeah,
fresh on my mind and it plays into today's show. Think about the height of most of the children that come to see you. And if you're sitting, they don't necessarily see it the same way as if you're standing up. But if a child approaches you and you've got stuff hanging off your belt, that's right in their side of view. That's the first thing they see. They may look up and see Santa, but then they see all the shiny, fun stuff, and a key is one thing that you can hang, with a key hanger, a key fob, hang off your belt, and makes great conversation.
that's why so many Santas say that I got a compliment on my belt buckle
Yes,
because they're that level and they see that big shiny whatever you've got belt buckle stands out just like the keys do or your bell's hanging or whatever you've got. That is exactly what Bob said. That is right there in their line as they're coming up to see you. They might
so
look up, but they're up.
something I started doing back when I bought my first custom belt from Richard Christie, Awesome Santa Belts. The design of that particular belt allowed the belt, even though the belt buckle was contour to your stomach, and per se, it's not flat. It's got a contour to it, and was meant to, ride flat against your cookie zone because of the way that the thickness of the 3-inch belts are, the thickness of the material itself, and it loops around and attaches back. It adds an extra layer of thickness to one side of your buckle.
Yeah.
So your buckle kicks off to one side. It sits a little bit askew to one side. And the question came up this weekend: how do you solve that? What do you do to make it? How can you fix it? For me, it was a simple fix. I went to the dollar store, bought a little dollar stuffed polar bear, and I stick him in behind the side that's kicked in, where only his head is sticking above the top of the belt, right next to the buckle. And that's the first thing children see when they see me, and they've always got to know the story behind the bear. So I go into his name is Polar. He's a polar bear. We have polar bear at the North Pole. The fur on Santa's coat is polar bear, and and just to be funny with them to kind of break the ice, especially, I'll tell them he's an ice bear. If you want to, pet him, go ahead, and I'll stroke the top of his nose, and I'll kind of lean forward. Just go ahead, and give him a little bit of love, and they'll reach up to pet him, and I'll go, and they jump back and look up, start laughing, and it just makes for fun.
Very good.
All right, looks like we got some
Hey,
great
that
answers
stuff
there,
you just said is priceless. That's priceless.
and it was a simple dollar bear.
Yes.
Matter of fact, I didn't just buy one. I bought a whole bunch of them just in case. And I've had other Santas here in the Metroplex that started using that, and that's fantastic. I love it because when I look at pictures and see one that's got a bear behind, and I call him my belt bear, and so fantastic. Yes, that's correct. Rick does, and I explained that this weekend to Eric Moishu, who I was talking about this particular question about. They posted in class. Rick came up with a design that allowed you. It's a little flat piece of metal. Matter of fact, I will actually show it to you. I've got it right here. Give me just a moment. Of course, Awesome Santa Belts is no longer. They dissolved. They are no longer a company. Let me open this up so there's not a glare on the bag itself. But there was a simple fix that Rick came up with for that. This is an extension. It's a piece of metal that's folded. It's got a contour so that the design of itself fits where it moves, where the belt folds and comes in to connect. It moves it back over away from the buckle and allows it to fit flat, flush. And the neat part about it is the tongue on your flap, your tongue of your belt, covers this portion up where you never see it. It's hidden. Fantastic, simple, little easy. That was the Velcro that went with it. Sorry, but what I was trying to say is it's contoured and it allows that belt buckle, any of those big belt buckles, and this works not only on the Awesome Santa belt buckles, but any other buckle that you're having a problem with. Fantastic, easy fix. And I don't know if you can still get those. Scott Saracen bought all the existing inventory that was left after Edmond, Oklahoma sat by class 2 years ago. Again, we'll have him on here later in the show. Maybe he can tell us if he has any of these available. If not, Rick's not in business. It can be reproduced, I'm sure. And I actually, again, I got smart and bought two of them. I don't buy anything one time. I buy everything twice.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, you never know when you're going to need a backup or you lose stuff as easy as I do. Okay. Gosh, how much fun are we having today? All right, let's go ahead and make our way into the next segment here. You ready, Randy?
Well, we got our video here.
Okay, hang on. We'll be right back. Okay, this is just in to the studio, hot off the wire. Zip and Chatterbox News is reporting at this hour, and our reporter today is Randall Santa Checker Lee. Randy, tell us about this exciting news that you actually posted earlier in the weekend, but let's talk about it.
Yeah, coming up, MAPS is sponsoring a weekend in the first weekend of June, June 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. It's actually two events combined side by side. June 1st and 2nd is actually Santa True is coming up to Rothbury, Michigan, which is right along Lake Michigan here, for a 2-day class. Of course, it's a Christmas Performers Workshop. It's far more performers-based Santa and Mrs. Claus and hands-on than learning about the history of Santa and things like that. So it's a different class that Santa True does, but he will be there June 1st and 2nd in Rothbury, Michigan. Then on the 3rd and the 4th, we have a thing called the Jingle Joy that's put on by MAPS. And it's kind of just a fun weekend. Friday night is our get together. We're going to have a little talent show and everything else on Friday night. Then during Saturday, we got golf and we're going to do it's kind of then a fellowship weekend. We do the 3rd and the 4th. It's all put together at a place called J&J Ranch. That's why we named it Jingle Joy, because it's called a place called J&J Ranch up in Rothbury. It's actually our 3rd year doing it for MAPS, but it's a great weekend. Again, it's 2 weekends put together. Of course, Santa True's is a paid event because it's a class, but the fellowship weekend is a free weekend. You have to pay for your hotel and food, but there's campgrounds, there's cabins. Me and a few other Santas, we're actually sharing a cabin. It's costing $150 for like four nights there. It's really, really a great deal. And you get a cabin and one night, like Friday night, Saturday night, we're going to do a movie in the park, going to play a Christmas movie outside in the park at a campground. So it's a great weekend that MAPS puts out. But look on the posts that have been done. It'll give you a link how to go to MAPS. It's, again, the MAPS thing is free, but Santa True is, again, great class on the 1st and the 2nd. There's deals going on, early bird, of course, and there's Mr. and Mrs. Claus's deals put together for combo deals like everybody does. So join us, man. Join us. I'll be putting more information out about it.
Ben says, wait, what? 2 events for the price of 1. That's correct, Ben. That is correct. Bart, there is links to, I think there's 2 separate links, isn't there, Randy?
Yes,
for
there
each.
is. Yeah, one
And
for
if
each
you'll
event.
go to the Tuesday Night Live Show Facebook page, which you should probably already be on, Randy posted that. It's probably going to be 2 or 3 postings down the page, but your link is on there, correct?
Right. There's a link for the how to register for the J&J for the Jingle Joy weekend and how to apply and send your money, of course, for the Santa True Christmas Performance Workshop. So you can do one if you want to, or you can do both. You don't have to be there for the whole weekend. If you just want to come for the class and go back home, or if you can only get away because you work, come up for the weekend. So, which is really cool. It's just 2 events side by side. And last year, Santa Tim Conahan was there on Thursday and Friday, so we kind of put this together this year, Santa True. So it becomes a wonderful weekend. It's so beautiful there because there's horseback riding and there's camping and it's a beautiful part of Michigan. Yeah, just go to the Facebook page and we got links for both. That'll show you how to register. Just follow the links and it'll tell you how to register. Again, free for J&J or Jingle Joy, or of course you have to pay for the Santa True. But again, you got 2 days of class at the Christmas Performers Workshop. He's coming in town.
And this may be 2 events side by side, but anytime you get a chance to go to an educational retreat of any kind, be it a weekend school or a big deal like Branson that Spangle puts on, or even this, it's kind of like a mini vacation because you're going somewhere, a destination that has not just scenery, but things to do. So those are all things to think about. Go a day early, stay a day late. Have
And
some fun.
the fellowship you get, I mean, you're in class all day, like Scott and Bob saying, you then at night you just sit and you talk to your fellow brothers and sisters in red, and like we're learning about what Bob just talked about that duck. We wouldn't have known about it, just said we just start talking, and when those are things you learn at nighttime. Not just the classes are fantastic. Don't get me wrong; they're just like necessity for our business. I feel,
It's
but
just part of it.
it's part of it. But then the fellowship you get along
The
with it,
whole weekend, the
man,
whole
this is a
weekend
whole weekend.
combined. And again, that fellowship sometimes is as valuable,
It is,
maybe even more valuable,
yeah.
because you really get to get that 101 or 110 small group, pick your brain. It's kind of like a breakout session in the lobby or in the breakfast room or, at the restaurant when we go out to eat, like we had a dinner Saturday night where we all got together and just, money you just can't get, a better bargain for your money when you do something like that.
It's
And for those
priceless.
who may not know, because we do have some new people on today, Randy, I'm sorry I didn't mean to talk on you.
Go ahead.
We do have some new people on today. MAPS stands for Michigan Association of Professional Santas. They are a group of like-minded men and women and elves in the Michigan area. You do not have to live in Michigan to join MAPS officially, but they do so many free things throughout the year. One of the most educational groups of men and women in our industry that continuously um, learn. Their motto is "We're better together," and those words speak volumes.
We are better together, and that's what makes we all got to be proud of our community and our business, and we feel we are better together in MAPS and the Michigan Association of Professional Santas. Again, like Bob said, you don't have to be a member, you don't have to live in Michigan to be a member. We have people from New York and Pennsylvania and Arkansas and Texas and Ohio and I mean Wisconsin. We have them all over. It's you don't have to be a member. That was just the original name that was given to the group 12, 13 years ago. So, but we have expanded the thing. But yeah, there's so many things that we do for to give back because that's the give. I know like everybody in the board of MAPS and even the members, they know how much they've gotten from other members, so they want to give back. So, sorry, Arkansas. Can't forget Arkansas.
I always like to think that we're better together and add a sub tagline to that is those that we serve in our community, no matter it be organizations, but especially the children and families are the beneficiaries of what we do in our off season and in our training. Never stop learning. I love to say that too. Now, for those who don't know, Santa True, Santa Robert Sutter, actually attended the Sat Bob's class in California that Gordon had a number of years ago. And in the process, he was just, stepping out of the types of things that he had been doing forever in the performance end of things uh, to take the class to become a Santa. And realized that the performance in it was lacking. I mean, our course is comprehensive business. We do touch on performance. You know, we give you a full gamut of everything that you're going to need, the tools you're going to need to go out and be successful and have that confidence to do that job. But Robert takes it to that next level. So he went out and formed the CPW and has been very successful at it. And always like to try to give everyone options. I know there's a lot of different places and things to do and go to get these things. Sometimes they're in your area, sometimes they're not. Sometimes you have to travel. But if you can get a chance to do one or two a year, you will definitely benefit from these things.
Yeah.
Anything to add to that, Randy?
I just got to add something to Rex Ray. Yes, Rex, we would love to have a Floridian as a member at MAPS. Yes, Rex. Yeah, the like I said, I mean, Sat Bob's goes from A to Z on education about what Santa and what you need to learn. I mean, it's incredible, that class. Besides those 4 books, I mean, you will know everything from A to Z. Santa True just takes a little different. It's more of a performer's, as being a performer, not learning about the history of Santa, things like that. So and every class is a little different. So that's what makes, you know, that's why you've got to go to, like Bob said, go to a couple a year, because you're going to learn something different. And they specialize in something different at pretty much each school. I mean, don't forget the
Yeah,
school.
and Tom mentions that True is also known as a storyteller, which is more than half of what
Right.
he teaches in his classes. Now, very true, Randy. We were even talking this weekend. Eric and Moesha attended last year's 9th annual Sat Bob's class in North Texas here, and came back this year, and they were surprised that there was so much difference in the two classes. Different people attending, different curriculum. I mean, we still cover our A to Z, but it's all the added stuff, the little bonus stuff that comes up during the weekend, and the different topics that we pick to cover in more depth any given year. And again, like our hot topics, it's kind of the same thing. What's hot that year? What's going to work? What do you need to know? And that's the way that we try to structure our school.
That's exactly, because everything does change every year. There's something new going on every year. And also, I mean to butt in on this, but Bart, no, there are no annual dues at MAPS. Bart, it's a free organization, to let you know. There are no dues. So just to let you know, MAPS do not have dues. But yeah, it's you have to learn something. You're going to learn something all the time. I mean, there's something new going on every. Somebody comes with a new idea. It's, you know, so it's necessity. I mean, besides, it's so much fun to go to those classes. It's so much fun, you know. I
And
mean, it's a riot.
and the breakout sessions or whatever you want to call it in the lobby at night. I always call them jam sessions because it's kind of like sitting around with your guitar and your drumsticks and doing a jam, but you're doing it, you know, Santa information, sharing techniques and stories.
That's for sure.
Okay, man, this show we're full of it today. It's been a great show so far. Let's kind of talk about the School of Santa's coming up in 2 weekends. We've talked about the other schools. Another great opportunity. Of course, we're fun, you know, an education meet 2 weeks in July to choose from this year, July 13th through 16th, and July 20th through 23rd in the scenic Branson, Missouri mountains. And that's the School of Santa's put on by Spangle the Clown, and $359, and all your meals are covered from the opening of the class on Thursday at lunch all the way through lunch on Sunday. That's lunch and dinner. You have 2 in-house opportunities for entertainment. Last year we had the number 1 top Joan Rivers impersonator come in for 30 minutes and entertain at the end of class. This same gentleman does uh, 8, 10, 12 different characters that he's award winning on every one of them. This year, he's going to perform as someone's different. That way, it's getting changed up. It's not the same thing, but you don't want to miss that. A young man, Radney Pennington, that Spangle has known since child and has worked with throughout the years and kind of been a mentor and a father figure to this young man. He is one of the top Elvis impersonators in the country. He's in his early 20s. And I got to tell you, man, if you've never seen him, go over to YouTube and pull up Radney. That's like Rodney, but with an A, Radney Pennington. And you will be blown away by this young man's talents, mannerisms. He has got Elvis down to the T. So check that out. And then we also have 2 Branson shows. We go out to the theaters. Spangle goes out and watches each year a handful of different top shows for that particular season, picks the 2 best that he thinks him and a couple of his guests for the night think are the best, and he gets tickets for everyone. That's all included, man. You cannot go and eat and entertain and learn. Fantastic weekend, and if you got the time, you got the money, think about coming up and doing the School of Santa's July 13th to the 16th, and or July 20th and 23rd. We were just talking, me and Randy earlier. I think there's 11 folks that's going to stay for both. They signed up for class 1 and class 2. They will be the exact same class. And this year's keynote speaker is Mr. Ed Taylor.
Wow. I mean, it is an incredible thing that Spangle puts together. I mean, and you get a price, you get food, I mean, just got to get there and take care of your hotel.
That's it.
Phenomenal.
Just get yourself there.
And hotel, everything else is included in your fee. And
of course
entertainment and knowledge and friendship, and what a week.
He gets a discounted rate for the hotel rooms if you attend the school. And there are cheaper places to stay. I'm not saying it's the cheapest. It's, middle of the road, but not bad. And but there are cheaper places within walking distance of the conference center. But again, being at the hotel where the event is, where all the action is, where all the cookies and ice cream is, and the break room at night, they have a break room that they open up each night and have free cookies. And they had cobbler for a few years, and the hotel got and conference center got bought out, and it's now a Wyndham property, and they did away with the cobbler. And you should have seen us complaining last year. Oh my goodness. You got 125 Santas and Mrs. Clauses upset because they didn't have cobbler. So Spangle's working a special deal with them to bring the cobbler back in. I don't know if he's got that done, but man, he's rallying hard trying to get it back. And the cookies are good. The ice cream's good. Okay, gosh, man, we're running so long this today. Let's go ahead and move on to our upcoming guest, Randy. I'm going to turn it over to you and let you fire away.
All righty, guys. Tuesday Night Live. Don't miss it Tuesday nights, guys. Remember, Tuesday nights are free. Education every Tuesday night. These interviews are free for you guys to watch. Of course, here live, and of course, put back on YouTube. But don't miss them. Don't miss them. But tomorrow night, March 14th, Gina Bacon. Gina Bacon has been running Nationwide Santas for years. She does a big box store. She has been in the entertainment business for years, so she knows how to perform. And her and Gordon Bailey for years have been connected, but don't miss Gina. I mean, she'll tell you all about what's going on in big box stores. She's got opportunities. Great lady, great company, very honest to the core, taking care of people. So don't miss tomorrow night, March 14th, Gina Bacon. Then the 21st, Lauren Jensen, a MAPS member here in Michigan, has his own Santa shed. He built a shed that he books out, and so it's something that he designed, him and actually Jeff McMullen, which will be on later, I'll tell you about, to build a Santa shed to, instead of working at a mall, instead of working at a big box store, instead of going to a house, he has them come to his shed. He'll tell you all about his marketing and tell you all about how he set it up and the good, the bad, and the ugly about it. But there's some phenomenal things about. Don't miss Santa Lauren Jensen for his Santa shed. Incredible. Then on the 28th is Charlie Johnson. Good old Charlie. Charlie lives in northern Michigan. Does just beard, and he looks fantastic. Besides, he's a great Santa. Does a lot of traveling doing Santa. Helps out a lot of the Santa schools with sound and things like that. But you'll get a big kick, and I have to bring it up every time I talk about Charlie, is he has to talk about his commercials he makes. He's got a funny little quirky little mind about Santa, but hopefully he'll be able to show those on there too. But he's got a list of things that he can tell you about. All right, Charlie. He's dynamite. So don't miss Charlie. That's on the 28th of March. Can you believe the end of March already, thinking about that? Then April 4th is Ben Bellhorn. Kind of a newer Santa, definitely a newer Santa. Ben is phenomenal. He is just like a sponge soaking up things when it comes to going to schools. So listen to Ben. He's been to bunches of schools. He's had incredible new experiences as a first year or two Santa. Looks great. So don't miss Ben. He's an Ohio guy down in southern Columbus area. I think that's right, Ben. I hope I didn't say the wrong city, but I know you're Ohio. But and he also talked about how well he's done getting the Ohio Santas together and kind of forming that group too. So don't miss Ben Bellhorn on the 4th of April. And it's not April Fool's joke. It's the 4th of April. Then on the 11th is Jeff McMullen. Jeff, wow. Same thing. He has the Santa Shed. He is 30 plus years, I think it is, 30 plus year Ringling Brothers clown. Just an entertainer like crazy. Really, you listen to the guy and I just get kind of mesmerized listening to Jeff. But he will also talk about a big thing about, because he has some physical problems, how he puts them together, how he works that around being Santa. It's not easy. He's going through a lot of physical things. So please send prayers out to Jeff right now. He's got some testing going on again. So, but he will talk about how that blends also for recovery and things like that, and dealing with being Santa. Then on April 18th, that was actually the 11th. Then April 18th is Jamie Dozer, Cotton State Santa. I love that, Cotton State Santa. That sounds so cool. Will just, it says professor of Santa?
Yeah,
Is that what it is?
professional Santa. That was just short for professional. Yes.
I thought it was professor there for a second. But he's stories, don't miss them. I mean, you're going to giggle, you're going to cry, you're going to do everything on the stories. Don't miss. I mean, again, then you start to relate and go, oh, I went through that. So don't miss it. And that's on the April 18th. Then we've got a little break. We've got a few weeks we haven't filled in yet, but then May 16th, real special Santa from New York, Dave Sanders. He was, I believe, Bob, you said he's from 9/11. He was there.
Yeah, he was there in New York, 9/11. He's a fireman, and he's got some stories to tell.
He's got some stories to tell, and he's also a Santa. So, and that's
and actor. He's done acting, some professional acting too.
So there's weekly, every Tuesday night. I mean, just so much talent, so much knowledge, so much, experience that you guys get to listen to every Tuesday night. Don't miss it. I mean, and it's free. The favorite F word, our favorite F word.
So Jamie Dozier, real quick, he was the one that helped organize the CPW workshop over in Alabama just a few weekends ago, and a big success, large crowd. And Jamie is a 2-time alumni graduate of the Sat Bob's class. The first year he came to Tuscumbia, Alabama, when he was getting his feet wet. His wife was still working at the time, so he brought his sister. She performed with him that first year or two as his Mrs. Claus. And then his wife retired. She came with him to Dixon, Tennessee to learn her portion of it. And so now he performs for both of them. If one's busy, he's got one to fall back on. Jamie has come a long way in a handful of years, and we're excited to have him on. Back to Jeff real quick. The one thing that always pops out about Jeff being a professional clown with Barnum and Bailey, he was also a teacher and instructor for their clown school for years and helped develop a lot of the things that they do. And as you said, he is just so cool to sit and listen to. The way he presents himself and his wording, and even the kindness in his voice, absolutely infectious. All right, I think we got all that covered pretty good, and we appreciate everyone sticking with us today. Trivia answer. You ready?
Trivia
I'm
answer.
gonna let you do it, Randy. Yeah, go right ahead.
Alrighty. The trivia answer is James Edgar, 1890 in Boston, Massachusetts. Who's our winner? Figure out who our winner is. It goes way back there, but it's James Edgar.
Yes.
1890 in Boston, Massachusetts.
And so as it was mentioned this weekend by Rex Ray, look what he got started by being the first within a year to 2 years. Every major department store had live in-person visits with Santa, and or sometimes that first couple of years they had them in the windows, performing inside of a street front window storefront. But hey, we owe everything that, not everything, but a lot of what many of us do to James Edgar.
The first. I
And
mean, think about it, that's the first, and just think how much that's grown. How many malls, stores, box store has Santa now? I'm sure that was a long time ago, but I mean that's incredible. That's incredible. I mean that's his history. We got to thank him for that.
yes, we do. And our winner, you're going to throw it up on the screen, Angela. Santa Tom. He went into. I'm sure he copy and pasted that because I know he can't type that fast because that answer went in quick. But he's got it. He's got it spelled out there. James Edgar of Brockton, Massachusetts. Now we said Boston. Brockton is a suburb of Boston, commonly known as Colonel Jim. Changed all that for good. In December of 1890, Edgar gave America the first department store, Santa Claus. In 1890, Edgar, who owned a dry goods store, took the train to Boston and had a Santa costuming tailor, a special for him. Went back to his dry goods store and became the first Santa department store performing as a live Santa. Before that, all you had was figurines and mechanical, crude style in the stores and things, winter fronts. Fantastic, Tom. I don't know if you've got one of these keys or not. If you do, let me know. Otherwise, you'll be receiving that from Spangle. Yes, it's from Tom. Let's say Tom from Wade and Scarlett at SantaCloset.org. But he sent us a handful of these to carry while Wade and Scarlett was getting all the inventory from Tom, getting it set up and getting ready to start shipping. So it'll be coming from Spangle. Spangle is gracefully eating the shipping on each one of these, but that's what Spangle does. Thank you, Spangle. Okie dokie. Hey, gosh, again, man, I got that magical moment feel coming on.
Stop too soon. It stopped too soon. Well, thank you guys. Great, great, great. It's magical moments time. What I want to do is take a few moments again to show you some things that you guys, we talked earlier about props and things like that. Some easy props that you can make. Of course, last week, you guys saw the coloring book. Larry talked about on Tuesday Night Live, the coloring book that was a night before Christmas. Well, this is a magic coloring book. You just have the pictures, all just a regular coloring book. This is not Twas a Night Before Christmas, and it's a you do a whole thing about coloring and all that. But this is something you can add very easily to that, and you can make it with a deck, a little pack of crayons, so you can show your coloring book. You can even use the Twas a Night Before Christmas one. You can tell the children that there's all kinds of pictures that need to be colored. And then you can show them a box of crayons. And what you can do is you can just slowly wave your hand and the crayons will disappear and magically reappear. Of course, you could do the Twas a Night Before Christmas, and of course the pictures appear. Then of course you would have the children erase, and you can get rid of all the pictures. But it's just a magic prop. You make different size books of these, but of course, it's always good to use the Twas a Night Before Christmas one. But remember, don't read out of the Night Before Christmas book like this because it's a gimmick book. But what I really want to show you is how to make the vanishing crayons. All you have to do is you go to the dollar store. Yes, the dollar store. Actually, it's $1.25 store now, isn't it? And just buy a little deck of a little pack of crayons. You then take and you cut out that little center part where they have a picture, which is actually a picture. I actually cut that out. And I'll show you in a minute the secret here. You can buy these already made, but for $1.25, you can make these yourself. You take the crayons and you cut them short and you just tape them. I've got the other half here. That's the bottom. I just taped them and cut that off. So what happens is when you put them inside the box, when you have this opened, let me close the lid properly so it doesn't squeeze too tight. Hold on there, I'm going to squeeze that close because there you go. And you just hold that tight. As soon as I release my fingers, the crayons will fall down in. I didn't close it right. They will fall down in. So it's just they slide back and forth. Boom, they're gone. And then what I like to do is I always like then to have another pack, and I keep them cut out. I have the same part cut out, and then I just do a little switch and I hand these out to the children after they're done in their real crayons. But it's a very easy trick to add on to your 'Twas a Night Before Christmas that you can get at Stuff for Santas, or of course Larry Talbot and Magic, but you can get them there thing. But this is just one more thing to just one more way to add a little bit more magic to Santa to make the colors disappear from the coloring crayon box and reappear in the book. So in $1.50, I don't know how much tax, it depends on what state you are, but $1.25 for a pack of crayons. And then if you want to give one out, that's a different story. But it's a quick, easy thing to do. And of course, this works the same way as 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. You have one spot that is, maybe. Uh-oh. Be better if I'd stand up. There we go. Maybe if I stand up, I can get it to work better. There we go. We can get it to better this way. We can show that there's nothing there. And it's just the way the book is made, top, bottom, middle. And you would learn that when you get the trick. But it's a great way to add one more little piece of magic, one little bit more piece of excitement and interest to a child when you're doing it. And all you need is a box of crayons, a pair of scissors, X-Acto knife if you want to, and some tape. So when it comes to what you need, it's very, very easy. So it's just one more way to add that little bit of, like we talked earlier about props, to have in your, you don't always have to use them, but you have in your arsenal. That doesn't take much space up in your Santa bag, but it gives you a few moments worth of, wow, what Santa can do. And then especially if you can switch them and you can hand them out in their whole, it's cool. It's cool.
Believable.
It is. It helps the belief of the magic that happened that Santa can do. And remember, to me, as far as I'm concerned, Santa's the most magical character that's out there. He can do everything. So thank you guys again for the magical moments. I appreciate it. It's a lot of fun. Hope if you have any questions, just IM me, contact me. We can talk it through.
As always, Randy, you are the best. Now, something that was brought up more than once this weekend. Practice, no matter what you're doing, be it telling your backstory, your expressions, your body mannerisms, magic tricks, whatever you're trying to do and perform. You are a performer. Performers practice. Make sure that you got that down. You know exactly your fluid emotions, and make it believable, and children will just be in awe.
Yeah, it like I said, Bob's that exactly, Bob. What doesn't matter if you're talking about your magic key. Practice what you're going to say. Practice what you're going to say. How you met Mrs. Claus. Practice how you can do the trick. Whatever it is, it's all like we said. We are performers. We may look like Santa. Not read this time of year yet. I will bleach, but Bob, you guys look like Santas, but we're still portraying that character and to make him magical and believable. So.
Practice. He's larger than life. You want to make sure you do him, justice.
Yes. Great. Thank you again, guys.
Thank you, Randy. All right. I wasn't going to do a Santa's flight checklist today, simply because I didn't have time to prepare. But in the end, something popped up in my mind, and I'm going to do it. So let's do the lead in. We'll be right back. All right. Santa's flight checklist for the day. And I got to tell you guys, I was extremely tired after this weekend. Took so much out of me. I slept late this morning. I was really worried about even getting this show put together in time to pull it off. Motivation. That was over here in my graphic on the right hand side. I looked over there thinking I needed to change those words if I was going to do a topic today, but motivation kind of sounded like a good topic to talk about. How do you motivate yourself when it's a long season? Working many hours and your tank just runs out. You just get empty. There's times when you just don't know if you can get up and go that next day or the next 2 hours of a long mall season. So I'm going to kind of tell you the ways and talk about the Set Bob School a little bit from Garland this weekend. I know we've talked a lot about it today, but again, what motivates me to do these long weekends and then turn around and do a couple of shows, back to back? Boy, Randy is a great example. Randy is just always full of energy, always the ultimate performer, always the show must go on. Uh, you hear entertainers say that, and it is so true. For me, as far as the long seasons go, money motivates some people. Uh, for me, knowing that I'm going to have some time off and take a short vacation trip with the family and do some family time that you neglect during the holiday season because you're working and you don't get to spend a lot of time with your family for 2 months, and you want them to know that you love them and you appreciate them. So do something nice after the season's over with family or your spouse or your children or whatever, but show your appreciation to those around you. The biggest motivator for me is my friends and family. I've always liked to say you're only as good as the folks you surround yourself with, and that is so true. I have been so blessed. I got to tell you, so blessed with the friends that not only I've had for life, I've made in other jobs that I worked before I became Santa, but most of all, the Santa community. There is no better group of people in this world than the Santa community. Be they been performing for 40, 50 years as Rex Ray or Gordon Bailey or Jeff McMullen or someone that you just met this year like Santa Roger at our school this weekend or Erica Moesha, who I just met a couple of years back. Absolutely fantastic people. If you are tired and you are low on energy and you go for just a moment and talk to any of these folks and they say anything that just makes your heart trickle and your blood flow and instantly they you build off the energy that they have. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who joins our shows on Monday and Tuesday. I love you all. You're all great, fantastic, great community. All those who came to the weekend Sat Bob's class, and all the friends and family I have out there, mainly my family, my daughter, my wife, my grandbaby, son, daughter-in-law, my son-in-law, and now my granddaughter's boyfriend Jose, who we talked about earlier. Thank you, everyone. Love you all, and that's Santa's flight checklist for today.
Very, very good. And it's true. It's not easy. It's not easy. You work them long hours, and you because if it's 10 o'clock in the morning or 10 o'clock at night, you still have to be a happy, happy, smiley Santa because those people, those children, that's the first time they're going to see you. So you can't be tired. You can't be groggy. You can't be grouchy. It's like, and it's not easy. It's and like Pop said, man, your fellow brothers and sisters in red can just grind, get you all wound up again to get going. Um, I guess I'm lucky. I just like it's showtime, folks. And I will when I'm done.
I
It's
know.
showtime. I mean, it's just years of doing that. Is for me. It's and of course, like I said, like a couple weeks ago, make sure you eat properly. Make sure you do those things, which necessity for your body to not to be drained, so you can handle those long days. But
Absolutely.
but yeah, reach out to a fellow brother or sister in red, and just they will pump you up in a heartbeat because they're going through the same thing too. They're working hard and everything else, and man, it just gets that and and then you do it again and you get that smile and it one extra special thing. And it's like, man, it was all worth it. You know, it was always.
Always have someone to talk to, and your friends they understand what you're going through. And Randy, it's been a tough year for you, and I understand that, brother. And as you know, we're all here for you. Anytime you need someone to talk to, we're here to talk.
I have a question. I
Okay.
have someone that sent me a private message
Uh-huh.
and they want to know how to register for MAPS.
Okay, private message wants to know how to register for maps. We kind of touched on that earlier. Randy,
Okay.
I know you posted those hot links. I call them hot links. No, it's not the ones you eat like I had for lunch today.
Right.
But they're blue links that are a direct URL link to anything. You click on that link, it takes you straight to whatever you're clicking on. Randy, you want to go ahead and tell them where they're at and how to do that?
Yeah, actually, it's on the Tuesday Night Live Facebook page. You might have to scroll down a few pages, but also you can go to michigansantas.org, michigansantas.org, and that'll take you directly to the maps page, and then you just got to look at it then to see how to become a member. So just go to michigansantas.org and but go to the links. It's quicker to go to the links. Just scroll down on, because you're already probably on the Facebook page right now watching this. Just scroll down on Tuesday Night Live, and it gives you to, of course, the Christmas Performers Workshop link or the Maps Jingle Joy link, which takes you to the Maps page anyway. So.
Very good. Santa Tom, what if you just like them? Well, it's Santa. And if you're the embodiment of Santa as we are, yeah, I'm Bob and he's Randy and you're Tom. But as Santa, you're supposed to like everyone. Don't say you have to love them, but you should like them. But yeah, I get your point, man. That's a good point there. All right, at this point, I promised you guys that we'd have a special guest on this afternoon. I call him special because he's just someone who is always there for us when we need him. That friend I was just talking about, I didn't mention his name because we was fixed to bring him on, but he's an important part of my life. He helps me in every way, just like Randy does, Eric Moesha does, and so many others. Spangle. Let's bring Scott Seriton in at this point. Everybody knows Scott from Tuesday Night Live show. He's filled in here on Mondays with us before, but motivation. Scott. Hey, he knows how to motivate you. Believe me. How you doing, Scott?
It's great to be here. I just wanted to drop in. It's cold here in Oklahoma. The temperature's dropping, but I'm going to tell you, I got a great night's rest when I finally got home last night. But, it was a little tough going to sleep because there was so much wonderful information from Rex Ray and the input from Moesha and Eric and the gentleman that came in and talked about home visits. His name was, and his wife.
Mm-hmm. Doug Wright and Diane Wright.
Oh my goodness. Talking about things that you can do to burn time in a home visit, things you can do in a home visit, something that'll keep the family, not only the children, but the adults intrigued with your visit as well. And I've been to God knows how many schools and helped you put on a couple of them. And the thing about it is with Sat Bob's, just because it's called the same thing doesn't mean you're going to get the same information. You'll get bits and pieces, but you're going to gain so much every time you go. Just like that was Rex Ray's first presentation that I had seen at Sat Bob's, and I learned more from Rex Ray this weekend than I've learned from probably in the categories that he specialized in than I have in any other class I've been in. And I've been, I go to not to toot Spangle's horn, but I go to every class he's had but one, and that was, I didn't go to the first one. I shouldn't say that. There was two, and he didn't have one in 2020. So, but every other class, I go every year. This year, I'll be there 2 weeks, and I invite people to at least come 1 week because there's going to be a wealth of entertainment, great food, and good education from Ed Taylor. Ed Taylor is, he's been doing this a long time from the standpoint from a media and marketing side, as well as entertainment as far as commercials and movies and things like that. You're going to get a wealth of information of stuff at School of Santas this year that we normally don't get because most of us don't even think about delving in that realm of the Santa community. As far as we think about seeing children, a home visit, or sitting in a chair in a big box store. So this is a whole nother avenue that we're not even touching. And like, and I throw this out there, Bob, is the one thing that I did this last year that I'd never done before is I have all the photo equipment like in a mall. I went to PTOs and PTAs in 2 cities here just to get my toes wet. And I went in to the PTOs and said, let's do a fundraiser. Let's do photos with Santa. Well, think about it. There's no marketing on our part. The only marketing there is the school will do, because where do you have a captive audience of 600 or 700 children in a school?
And PTO stands for those who may not know, Parent Teachers Organization. Here in Texas, it's PTA, or it used to be Parent Teachers Association. So there's different names from different states, different counties, and that sort of thing. But that's a great idea. And like you said, you got a captive audience right there. It's something that some schools offer photos, yearly photos. Most schools do. I know I have done my first 2 years, did our local elementary school that we attended as children, uh, breakfast with Santa and in photos. It doesn't just have to be photos. It can be breakfast with Santa or lunch, pizza. I mean, get creative, guys.
But your foot in the door is to go through the parent teacher organization or association and present it to them as a fundraiser. You've got to have 3 or 4 people. They can pre-sell the photos. You set a price up. Now, granted, I have the printers, which I don't have a problem sharing that with them. I use DNP 620s, which come from Imaging Spectrum, right in Texas, in Denton, Texas, if I'm not mistaken, close to Bob. And, granted, they're not cheap, but it doesn't take long to get your money back. You think about this. If you've got a picture, a 5x7, 4x6, or a 6x9, either one of them, I will tell you this much, that each one of those prints, if you combined them all and gave them all one of those prints or 2 of those prints, it's under $1 in your cost. And you're charging anywhere $15 to $40 or more. The malls charge more than that, but I'm just giving you an example of the income that's made. So your investment, you'll get it back pretty quick. I mean, this year I had a huge box made like a road case, like the bands carry their speakers in, that my printers all go in, the computer and everything. I go in, I pop it up. I have this backdrop, my chair, and all the photo stuff set up in 20 minutes. Set up and tore down in 20 minutes. I'm there 2 hours, and I'll walk out of there with generally 500 plus. This year, one of the schools was $500, my part. And I, they made $1,000 in 2 hours, and they never done it before. It was a smaller elementary school, but that just gives you an idea what's there.
Yeah, that's another market that is potentially one that we can all tap into if you want to make the investment, if you want to do the time. As Scott just mentioned, it's profitable, and that's just one school. You do 2 schools, 10 schools, 20 schools. Think of the potential that you have there. So I asked Scott to come on today and kind of talk about a little bit what happened this weekend, and talk about Spangle for a moment, and then kind of give us some things to chew on. That's a lot to chew on right there. Fantastic. Ray Bradshaw, again, brother, thank you for coming to the class this weekend. Fantastic student. Was glad to have you in class, and your contribution was great. And yes, everyone made it home except for Rex. He's still on the road, as far as I know. As of the launch of the show, he was down on I-10 somewhere, headed home. So, and I know he's tired. Scott kept him up till I think after midnight Saturday night in the lobby, picking his brain. So,
no, Rex and I we went to bed at 11:30. So,
okay.
And I was up at 2:30 the morning before to come down to pick Spangle up at the airport. To answer your question, who asked about the printer? Scott Parker. I use DNP is the brand, and there's 620s.
And the location of the company that he mentioned, I believe, is actually in Plano, and Scott knows where that is because he lived here, and Scott Parker knows where it is because he lived here in the Metroplex. But Plano is a city just north of Dallas, 2 suburbs up. So, All right. So, Randy, what else you got to add? Anything we just talked about? Anything to throw in there? Your 2 cents worth?
Incredible. I mean, yeah, just those weekends are just, I mean, full of uh, your mind just gets like, but you can't help but want more, you know?
Throw Eric and Moesha's comments up here about the fire hose. I know you
Oh,
put it up once, but let's throw it up again.
it's like yeah, drinking with through a fire hose just so much, you know.
This is a good way to put it right here. Go ahead and read that, Randy.
Last year, we were drinking through a fire hose. This class for us was more what we needed now, and that was done this year. We learned so much more to put up where we were now, and it's sorry I'm not. I got to get better glasses. And it's moving us forward to the next adventure and future events. Yeah, I mean it's yeah, you guys were fed, like crazy last year and so much more learning this year. Like Scott said, it's something different every class because every instructor is a little different and of course the mix of the Santas and Mrs. Clauses are different. So a little bit of different knowledge, even if you go to the same class over and over again, you're going to learn something different and new every time.
Yeah, even Doug and Diane, they came in last year and did basically the home visit, magical home visit presentation, but they had added, I want to say maybe 5 new props to their repertoire, and they're high end props. A couple that you get from Courtney Lofton. We all know who the Red Sled Santa Foundation, Courtney. 2 of his biggest props they've added and are using now, and I mean, so even though you go and you may have the same instructors, you still learn different stuff year in and year out. Bart has a great comment up there. Well, let's get Ray's first. Last year was like jumping into the deep end of the pool. At least I have a life jacket this year. Great comment. And back up to Bart. Bart says, we've invested in what is basically a traveling mall display, and it has expanded my range of bookings exponentially. Fantastic comment there, too.
Yeah, Scott Parker. The 410 is an older model, unless they've changed it. But I've had real good luck with the 620s, and they're real dependable. And I have small road cases for them individually, and then a big one. Both of them fit in. So
And the six, what'd you say, 620?
620.
620 is actually the newer version of the 410, and we upgraded. Cherry Hill upgraded or actually, I think it was worldwide. Last year we were with Worldwide Photography, upgraded from the 410 up to the 620s. And I got to tell you, man, the loading time, as far as loading your media into the machine and downtime, we have had no computer glitches or anything that's held us up. With that 410, we were having software problems year after year, and we would have 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes at a time where we would lose it, have to go through technical support. They'd have to come in, reverse engineer everything, take over our computer equipment, fix it. And not that the 410 won't serve you well, but I think if you go with the 620 for a few dollars more, you're a lot better off in the long run. So
Yeah, I add to that. Also, the software I use is Darkroom, which comes from Imaging Spectrum too. They developed that, and I get my media and everything from them. If I have a printer go down, I can call them if it's Monday through Friday, and they will have me another printer the next day here in Oklahoma City. So here at the house, they're really great. Media is come back in. We had a tough time last year getting media, but I mean it's I think we're okay now. I wanted to answer one more question that y'all had mentioned, and you put me on the spot, said that I was going to answer it, and that's, what do you have if a child is Jewish? And I had a little girl come up to me, and she stood like the Norman Rockwell picture with her hands behind her back and just gazed up at me with her big brown eyes. And I said, what could I bring you this year for Christmas? And she says, nothing. And it just breaks your heart when you hear that. And I said, well, why? Why do you not want anything for Christmas? And she says, we don't celebrate Christmas. I said, oh, really? Well, how about the last 3 days of Hanukkah? Have you been saying your prayers every night? Do a little research on the celebration of Hanukkah, because you'll have answers in all this. And her parents were back there, and I could heard her mother say to her dad, "Oh my God, Santa's Jewish." So, you know, I knew enough, and I speak a little bit of Hebrew and know some of those prayers. So I was be able, and and the little girl's eyes lit up, and I wished her a happy Hanukkah, and she came and took a picture with me, and off she went. But the parents, the adults that were there, felt much better about going to see Santa, knowing that and I look at it. Everybody looks at it, differently. I look at it as that I'm a gift giver, and the celebration. Saint Nicholas started. There was no Christmas behind it. The Americans made the Santa Claus in the red suit with Coca-Cola as an American holiday. But originally, St. Nicholas was a gift giver with the coins in the children's, unfortunate children's shoes and the fruit in their socks, and I kind of roll that into a lot of my stories, my backstory a little bit. But anyhow, the Jewish kids learn a little bit about the Jewish background and learn a little bit about Hanukkah, because you will have a child on occasion that will come through. And with that being said, that's how I dealt with it. And I think that works. But if you have a little bit of knowledge, then they feel like, well, you do know everything. You're aware of everything around the world. And you can always say, oh, I didn't recognize you. That's right. You've been celebrating Hanukkah this week. So it kind of goes with that. And I'm not going to ramble on. I've got a child that I need to take to work. His car's in the body shop. So, hey, I appreciate you letting me drop in. Audience, it's been great seeing you on Tuesdays, and I think Spangle's going to drop in and make me absent this week. However, Randyl, thanks. It's great to see you, my friend.
Great to see
Bob,
you.
my brother, Angela, you're doing a great job. To Rex Ray and all the people that presented at Sat Bob's Gordon, hey, my hat's off to you. Keep up the education. And do me a favor, viewers, please get some education and continue it every year. Most professions always have a continuing education clause in that job. And that doesn't mean that we don't need it also. I go to Sat Bob's, I go to Garland almost every year, and I go to Branson. If you've never been to the Branson school, please call Tanya and get on that schedule and come one of those 2 weeks. I promise you, it will be an experience, and the camaraderie that you have with the other Santas that are there. I promise you this: if you don't leave learning one thing, you're a liar. You will learn something. It may not be big, but you will learn something. I can promise you that. And I don't mean to be so non-candy coated, but that's the bottom line. I promise you'll learn. Bob, do you learn something every year?
Something constantly, no matter if it's at Branson or if it's on these shows or if it's just talking to another Santa on the phone. I'm still a sponge. 14 years into this, I'm still a sponge.
Well, I haven't been in it as long as you and Randy have, but I guarantee you, from the day that I started and called you the first day, you would have thought today I'd been doing it probably 10 years plus.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you better get your kiddo to.
Yeah, I got to get my glasses on and get to the sleigh to get him to work.
Thank you for dropping in. We'll see you soon, my friend.
All right, hey, God bless everybody, and keep those smiles on and stay merry, my friends.
Absolutely.
Bye, Scott. Thank you.
Okay, Randy, you got anything to follow up on?
No, just wow, what a show! Incredible information today. And like I said, it's that favorite F word. It's free, guys. Incredible. Yeah. Just our guests are just been every week fantastic, but so much good input again. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. And as always, please stay safe, stay healthy, and most of all, stay magical, everyone. Join us. Don't forget the YouTube page, guys. Thank you, Bob. Angela, another week. Thumbs up. Thank you, guys.
Long show. It's been a long week, been a long weekend. We got a show to do tomorrow night. Drop in tomorrow night for Gina Bacon, Tuesday Night Live. We'll see you back here next Monday. Thank you, Randy. God bless, brother. We'll see everyone soon. Thanks.
One other thing.
Oh,
happy early birthday to Scott Parker.
Happy early birthday to Scott Parker. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Scott.
See everyone soon.
See you soon.